In this video, I'm using this cardstock to print on, as well as this hot glue and these scissors. Here are some images that I'm using if you would like to pause it and screenshot them. Otherwise, I will leave a link for my Etsy shop that you can print them out if you want to use these images. And I'm just cutting them out as a pattern with the cardstock that I printed them on. I'm going to be using a couple different kinds of cardboard, some regular from some boxes, as well as the thinner stuff that's more like a very thick cardstock off of food boxes, like a cereal box, things like that. For this first one, I'm tracing out the snowflake and cutting out a couple of the regular cardboard and then a couple of the, we'll just call them cereal box cardboard for now. And I'm gluing them together in a stack with the cardboard on the inside and the cereal box ones on the outside. And each time you glue one on before the glue set, just make sure they're lined up. I'm using the same cereal box style cardstock to cut strips out of that I'm going to glue around the edges. This hides that it is a cardboard and makes it look more like a wood or something like that. After you glue around the edges, drill or poke a hole so you can put a piece of jute twine in it or other kind of rope or yarn would work. And this is how you will hang it. I'm layering paint, first a darker brown color, and then after that dries, I'm applying a white paint. And I'm just dry brushing it, not very heavy paint on the paintbrush, because I am going for a distressed farmhouse look. After the white paint dries, I decided that it didn't look distressed enough, and I took a little bit of a brown paint around the edges to make it look aged and distressed. And I do like the way that the jute twine goes with this to make it look really rustic and farmhouse style. For this next ornament, we're going to be using a tree shape. You can also draw your own shapes if you want to try that, or use patterns that you find online or something you may have. And I'm doing the same thing where I cut 2 cereal box cardboard and 2 regular cardboard, and I'm just layering them together in a stack and making sure that they're lined up evenly each time before the glue sets, and taking some more of those cardboard strips around the edges to hide that it's cardboard and make it look like wood. Drill a hole again so you can put a piece of jute to hang it with. For this tree, I'm using jute to wrap around and around. And I'm starting at the bottom and just gluing a little bit at a time so the glue doesn't dry. And I can keep the jute nice and even. As you work up the tree, when you go around the sides, you glue a little looser because it starts to curve, and it still looks nice with the curve. But if you glue a little bit lighter on the sides, it'll help it even itself out so it looks more straight across. When you get towards the top, you want to go ahead and put your jute through that you're going to hang it with so you can, while you can still see the hole there, and then hold it downwards and glue around the top. I also added a little bit to the bottom. If you want to, you can screenshot this as well and use this to print out so you can have some labels and tags to add to your ornaments. So I created these labels with some fun words, and it makes it feel very farmhouse with a little word on there. And that's the look we're going for, is very rustic, neutral, and farmhouse. So I'm just taking some hot glue and gluing the little word on, and I'm going to make a bow out of this black and white gingham, and I'm gluing it to the top. The next one is going to be using a heart shape. This is one of my favorite ones. I just really like the heart. I think that it's nice because you can use it year round. It doesn't have to be just during the Christmas time. You could make something for Valentine's Day or just everyday decorations. Also, you can paint these any color to match your decor and put words or something else like a little picture if you wanted to in the center. And I'm doing the same thing where I cut several pieces of cardboard and glued them together. The reason why I put the cereal box pieces on the outside is because if you just leave it cardboard, you can see the ripples and the ridges that makes it look like cardboard, and we're trying to make these pieces look like it's cut from a piece of wood. And the cereal box makes it really nice and flat. Once I've glued them together, I'm painting it black underneath and then dry brushing a white paint over it. And dry brushing, again, it just means don't put too much paint on the brush. And if you dip it in there and there's just too much, brush it off on a paper towel or a piece of paper or something to keep the paint dry, and just lightly drag it across the piece. Try to leave the edges with more color underneath showing so it has a distressed look and looks like it's worn. And after you paint it at the end, if you've brushed too much on, you can take a darker color to the edges and sponge it or brush it on lightly to make it look like it's been sanded or distressed. And I'm again using the jute twine to hang this one with. And just a simple word in the center I thought was really nice. This next project feels so fun. It's a house shape, and you can use this house shape in so many different ways. You can make it look like a little birdhouse. You can make it look like a gingerbread house, or just any kind of house that you want to make, a plain farmhouse, or whatever color matching your decor. And I'm showing you to do the same thing and create layers of the cardboard with the cereal box kind on the outside and around the edges to smooth it out and make it look like wood instead of cardboard. And the nice thing about this as well is you can put as many pieces of cardboard layered as you want. If you want to do an extra piece in there to make it even thicker, or if you want to do just one piece and it can be a tag hanging off of a gift or a gift basket, or even a mason jar that you have cookie dough or a cake mix in for a handmade gift, and you can make a pretty tag to hang off of it. So I'm gluing this house ornament together, and I'm going to be using that cereal box cardboard around the edges. Except for this time, I'm not going to put it on the roof part. I have this other kind of cardboard that I really like, and it's sort of just the wavy part exposed. And it came with like a tool or something. I saved it from my husband's things, and I used the little house to measure it and cut the width so it hangs over the edge like a roof would hang over a house. And just trim it carefully and nicely and slowly glue it on. You don't have to make it hang over the edge, and you could just do plain cardboard across the top if you wanted to. But I thought it would be nice to use some of this cardboard as well. I thought about painting it gray and white or black so it would look pretty in many different colors, just as you would paint a roof on a house. But I did end up leaving it just the plain color because it looks very nice and very rustic on its own. And just trim it to fit. After you finish gluing it on, we're going to take a piece of black and white buffalo check fabric that we have left over from another project and gluing it on the front of the little house right up next to the roof and just glue it very well. And it looks really pretty and really nice and very farmhouse. And this is one of my favorite fabrics I've ever had, has always been my favorite fabric. And I'm gluing it around the sides and the bottom. And I'm going to trim it off, but leave a little bit extra to glue it around. And then we're just going to take a piece of gray felt left over. I like to save pieces of fabric and remnants for small projects like this. And you take the gray felt and glue it on the back to make it look nice. I thought I would use another one of these tags. I thought it would look pretty in the middle of the house. I was going to put a little window like a birdhouse, but I thought a piece of greenery would be really cute, and you only need a small piece, and it's perfect for those ones that you have left over from other projects. And you can add a bow if you want. I'm taking a piece of jute twine on the back to make a hanger, and I just glued it this time instead of drilling a hole. And I cut an extra little rectangle of the felt to hide where the glue was. That way, if you give it as a gift or anything like that, you want to sell it, you can hide that. For the next project, I wanted to do a snowman. You have to have a snowman in your ornaments. And I like this one's layered with the same cardboards for the cereal box and the regular cardboards. But then I took a piece of that cardboard for the front. That's the corrugated showing and shows the nice waves. So if you have those cardboards, make sure you save it for this use. And I drilled a hole in the top to hang something with and painted the back and the sides with a white paint. And then I took the white paint on the front and just lightly brushed it so it doesn't go down in the grooves, just on the top of the ridges of the cardboard, and makes it look kind of rustic and old. And I took a small piece of cardboard and cut out the shape of a carrot nose and painted it with craft paint. This is a piece of black and white gingham fabric, a remnant I cut a strip of. And you can see here how I'm gluing on a scarf. And it's very easy to do. And the snowman is so much fun because you can make a lot of different options. You can give him arms out of sticks. He can have no arms. You could make cardboard arms. His hat can be a top hat, a beanie. You can do earmuffs. You can do no hat. The scarf can be any color you like to match your decor. And then you can also add little embellishments if you want. He could even have something like a little bird or maybe a snow shovel or something. So I'm just gluing on the carrot nose and taking some black craft paint to paint on eyes and little pieces of coal for a mouth. And just use a small tip of a paintbrush. Then I'm going to take a piece of this black felt. It's this felt that's a little bit stiff. It doesn't matter though if it's stiff or not. You could even just paint cardboard black if you wanted to, if you don't have any felt. And you can cut out any hat shape you wanted like this and just glue it to the top of his head. And I think he looks fantastic. So for this next project, I'm taking a piece of cereal box kind of cardboard. It's off of a drink container box. And I'm trying to form it into a cone shape and gluing it together. After you glue it together, trim it down to the size that you want. You can also trim it and make it very tall and put it on a table if you wanted to. But since we're doing this one as an ornament, we're making it a smaller size. And taking a piece of that cereal box cardboard to put a circle on the bottom so you cannot see the inside. After that, we're taking some paper to reinforce over the seam just so it doesn't come apart and it makes it look a little bit smoother. And then after that, we're going to cover the entire thing in some pieces of burlap and just glue it around the sides of the bottom and take another piece and starting from the bottom and go up and carefully glue it around in sections and trim where is needed until you cover the cone shape. After the cone shape is covered, you can decorate it if you'd like. And there's a lot of options you can do to decorate it. You can also paint it if you wanted to paint it green or white or any color you wanted. You can glue pom-poms or beads to it. You could make little hearts cut out of cardboard or snowflakes, lots of little ideas. But for this one, I'm taking some wood beads I put on a string. They're very tiny wood beads, and I think they look very farmhouse. They have like a natural color to them that I really like. And I just started at the bottom and then glued them going around and around up, and then added a jute bow and hanger at the top. For the next project is going to be the shape of a tag. I love this tag shape. It's one of my favorite things. And the reason why is because you can do so many things with this shape. If you don't have it to print out, you can just cut it out of a rectangle and trim the top and then poke a little hole in it. It's very easy to make that shape and draw it. I'm layering the cardboard and then I cut a piece and layering it so it looks like wood pieces, sort of like shiplap wood. And I'm painting the whole thing black first, and then I'm going to go back over and paint on top of that a white so it looks like an old shiplap piece of wood where you can see the black poking through. These are really nice as well because you can do more pieces of cardboard and make it very thick so it looks like a thick piece of wood. Or you can do very thin with one piece of cardboard or just a couple and make gift tags for gifts that you're giving. You can also make the rectangle very large and hang it on the wall like a very pretty wall hanging. So that shape is very good to do many projects with, and it's also great for year-round. You can do it for any season or any holiday and decorate it any way you want. I'm just showing you here an example that looks very farmhouse and very neutral and looks like little pieces of wood made from cardboard though. And it's a good way to upcycle and reuse that. Now I'm taking one of the tree shapes that I used earlier, the same pattern, and just cut one cereal box piece out and paint it green. After that dries, you want to put your jute twine hanger and then glue the tree on. But you can see I'm not gluing it centered. I'm gluing it down in the bottom corner. So it's not taking up the full tag. Of course, we are covering up some of that pretty shiplap, and you could do something much smaller if you wanted to. So after you glue the tree on, just turn it over and trim away the excess cardboard so it lines up with the tag shape. After that, I'm taking a piece of the tag paper, but I did add cardboard to the back to make it a little more 3D. So it's a very thick word on there. And I have some of these little wood snowflakes that I like to add to little craft projects. And a pretty jute bow, and you can see it looks like distressed wood. For this next project, I'm going to glue together stacks of the little square shape. And you can do this with a rectangle shape or square shape. And you can do it as thick as you wanted or any colors that you wanted. I'm painting this one white, and then I'm taking this black and white buffalo check gingham type of ribbon, and I'm gluing it around. And I'm just securing it with a little bit of glue on the back. And then I'm going to take the ribbon and go around the other way. You can go around the center, but I wanted to go near the top a little bit more. And just securing the ribbon again. After that, you want to poke some holes or drill some holes to put your jute twine. The reason I drill the holes is because when I poke the holes, it dents the cardboard and pushes it in. But if you drill it, it doesn't push on the cardboard as much. But you can do with whatever you have. Just be careful poking the holes. And add a little ribbon to the front, and it's a mini present. For this next project, I'm using another one of the shapes, and this one is supposed to look like an old milk can. I like this shape because you can do a lot of different things with it. You can put a picture of a cow on it, a little tiny one, of course, or a chicken or something like that. You could put words like farm fresh on it, and it can be as a Christmas ornament, and you can use it year round if you wanted to. And it makes a nice gift on a package because someone may take that off and hang it and display it throughout the year for something. So I'm painting it a gray color, and then I'm taking a white paint around the edges to make it look kind of like a distressed milk can effect. Sometimes the old milk can has white on it to make it look like an antique piece. And I just did the same thing, gluing cardboard together and painting it and adding the words and bows. And then for this next shape, it is the shape of a mason jar or a glass jar. And I did the same thing where I cut out a bunch of pieces of cardboard and layered them together. And I put the cardboard around the edge to hide the cereal box around the edge to hide it. And I painted the top gray and the bottom white, and I hung it with a piece of jute. And now I'm just taking a little bit of green craft paint and stenciling, kind of just dabbing a stiff paintbrush, a small one, and making a tree shape. And I'm just kind of doing it in like 3 triangle-like shapes, maybe trapezoids in a triangle. And then at the bottom, a little bit of brown paint for a stem. And I took the back of a paintbrush and I daubed some gray paint and white paint to try to look like it was drops of snow, and added the tag, "Let It Snow." And I hope you liked these DIY ornaments made from cardboard and paper. And thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe.